Welcome to FMA Talk Live. I'm your host, Datu Tim, and this is my phenomenal co-host,
PG Ties here. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah. So, man, that's the never-ending intro. I got some of these events are going to go away, so we use that obviously to promote what we're doing. But obviously, I tell you what, I think we got a little solicitate or a vote of confidence about our soundtrack because I saw our guest jamming out on a carenza in the background while the music was playing. So he's got some hardware with him, but we'll get into that in a minute. How you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Anything new and exciting?
Nothing super new and exciting. Hey, I just finished the my 10,001st push-up for this month of July for the Wounded Warrior Project.
How's that going? Besides
Good.
the 10,000,
raised between GM Reno, and myself, we raised almost $500, $400, I think.
Congratulations!
Yeah,
excellent. So we got to get back to doing stuff like that. Helping out.
Yeah,
paying it forward.
I'm doing one for St. Jude's for August.
The thing about I don't like about St. Jude is once you do something for St. Jude, they never stop calling.
Oh, that's true. Well, we used to ride for them, so.
And then you know that they never stop calling.
That's right. Yeah.
So let me see what I think we're all pretty good.
How about you? Anything going on recently? How'd your weekend go?
I was up in Canada.
That's right. Yeah.
We're going to be doing some things coming out. We might actually have representation in Turkey now. So we're going to be talking about that. Actually, Friday's board meeting, we're going to talk about that. And then on the website, we've been posting. So I'm going to be starting a feature instructor at least once a month, maybe 2 a month. Just, who's whom in the zoo. I haven't decided. I haven't told the person who I've decided we're starting off with, but it's not one of the board members. So it's not me or Ty or Chad or any of those guys. Although we will do something on everybody sooner or later. But I'm thinking of someone in Pennsylvania.
Perfect.
So, but we'll get into that. And I'm just firming things up. I'm going to the gathering in Sacramento in September. I'm working on getting all the details of that worked out. Going to do some seminars before the gathering. Then I might be doing something Sunday night before I fly home. Who knows? And Grandmaster Geronimo and I are going to try to reconnect out there as well. He was just here recently for those who didn't see that. And then I've been putting a bunch of posts up regularly. I'm going to have one, I want to say political, but the latest one I did, and maybe we'll talk about this more in detail. I want to focus on the future generations of the art. I hosted the reunion camp at 2020 or 2011. And then we had the reunion and memorial camp in 2021. And I want to get away from those events. And the reason why is that I went to my 40th high school reunion and I saw a wall of people who were no longer with us. There's like 41 people who passed. I knew 30 of them personally. Most of them all the way back to elementary school. And, it's cool to have, we celebrate those who survived, but we need to talk about the future if we want the art to go forward. So my focal point from now on is I might have a remembrance event and stuff along those lines, but I am not going to tie myself down with a reunion event, although people are always welcome to be part of what we're doing. I really want to focus on developing students because we really need the masses out there. So if you haven't read it, you can go to the website. I'll show it right here, and then we're going to welcome our guest on. So if you go into, WM for worldmodernartist.com, or just put in worldmodernartist.com. You can go there, and right on the front page, you'll see our blog posts. And you can go back and you can see more older ones right here. But this one talks about, we talk about a new chapter for modernities, focusing on the future. And I talked about the reunion camp, which I think was very good it did a lot of good things. It helped project. It helped start a lot of other events happen. And unfortunately, things didn't go the way we all wanted. But the thing here is, it was a jumping point. Dieter came to the event, and with us all together, we started the Best of the West. He did the Best of the East. He did the East Meets West camp, which I was also part of. Other events came off of this for a while. The cool thing is, people from that camp relocated and found instructors while they were at that camp for the areas they were relocating into. So that worked out well, but I want to focus more on moving the art forward and less about the remembrance, because, it's good to get all the old timers back, but sooner or later, we're not going to be there. We already lost a lot of people, and we need to focus on the future. We need to focus on training our replacements and helping them train theirs. So, although I'm going to live to 150 and break SSI all on my own. So just for the record.
There you go.
And you'll be right behind me at 149 3/4.
That's right.
Okay.
11, 12 or something. Yep.
Or whatever it happens to be. I do, at the end of the show, I want to talk to you off the air. I want to look at laptops, and I want some more feedback from you, because I didn't like the person I was talking to, because specs are specs. Yeah, specs are not always specs, my friend.
That's true.
But we'll talk about that. For me, working in the automotive industry, spark plugs are spark plugs. No, they're not. So, with no further ado,
Nice.
A West Coaster that relocated to the central area, which is weird, because when you go to Buffalo, before you hit central, you hit Midwest. Go figure that one out.
Right.
Person used to be out on the West Coast in California. Now he's in Green Bay, Wisconsin, if I got that right. And if not, he's going to correct me. One of his students is always on with us, and he's on today, Eric here. Excellent. With no further ado, Sifu, but he goes by Sensei Herb Blue. Sir, welcome aboard.
Hello. What an honor. Appreciate it.
All right. So I'm going to come up with some of these comments right off the bat so you can see what goes on here. So I showed you a little before pre-show. So right off the bat, Eric says hello from Portland, Oregon. Usually he's at the gym and he rolls in and he says, hey, I just got out of the gym, And then we've got Scott Massey, if I'm pronouncing that right. Massey. Yes. And then, of course, Eric says hello to Scott. Matt is from the Bay Area. Hello, Matt. And Matt, I'm going to be out there in September. Frank Schakowsky, all the way from Cromwell, Connecticut. Sam Wolf says hello from Mount Gilead, Ohio. That's pretty much Mayberry. If you ever been to Ampy, Andy Taylor, that's old school. If you're not a Gen Xer, you have no clue what I'm talking about. iBotting puts the information for the fundraiser out there. And then Steve Banco says hello. We're doing well. He says, good evening, gentlemen. Hope you're both doing well. He's leaving me out. He's talking about you, Herb, and Ty. That's right. That's the joke around here.
That's right. Because
what happened was we have a Canadian that'll make an appearance out of nowhere. Renee goes, hey, how y'all doing, guys? And Tim. Hey. So we are pretty there. Okay. Oh, by the way, Sensei Blue, Mike Limerick says hello.
Oh, Mike, nice. Hello, Warriors.
All right. So, to be very upfront, I've known Herb for years, but we haven't had much interaction. It's more of a, hey, how you doing? And that's about it. It's all been virtual. I don't know. I think we called on a phone once or twice.
Yeah.
In general, never had a face-to-face. So this is gonna be first fun one. Oh, and Teresa Jean says hello.
Oh, that's my sis. Hey, sis.
And Tammy from Reading.
Nice. Oh yeah, my niece. Oh, got a following.
Because you used to be in Reading, right?
Yeah, that's where I grew up, basically.
Okay. So is Blaine Court one of your guys?
Blaine Court is my son. And,
okay.
And he has a school out there where he teaches the modern art.
I was supposed to go out there and work, but things weren't working out. I was supposed to go up in September and visit him.
Nice.
And you've done. I was looking into you because we haven't met, which is cool. This will be interesting. But I noticed you did seminars out there. I don't know when the last time you went, but I saw some. It looked like fun. So I was wondering when's the last time you were out there doing seminar at his place.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did one. He had a group testing for the black belts, and that was I think 3 years ago.
Okay, great.
Like that. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and I go out in the summer when it's 115. That's the only time we visit Red.
Of course.
Is that the way it always is?
Oh man, that's not well. That's why I live in the Midwest. It doesn't get to 121.
There we go.
Yeah.
Although Buffalo got hot, we got in the 90s. We've hit hundreds. But I like the 90s. It works well for me.
Well, I got to tell you, in Reading, when I was growing up as a welder, journeyman welder at 16 years old. It was 121 degrees some days, and it had 30 days that would cool off to 100 degrees.
And then you were welding on top of which.
And I was welding, So it was different. So now, when I'm out here in the cold, it's not cold. It's nice.
But, it's good. But let's ask the first one. When did you start doing martial arts?
I started in 1978, I think, at the college. They had a college course in Goju-Kai karate.
Okay.
So I started way back then, and the program lasted for about 2 years, and then the program stopped. But in the meantime, I met another instructor in the Wu Ying Dao style, and I started training with him.
Okay.
And I trained with him forever now. He's still my sensei. But
oh, nice.
Yeah. So it was and I did it on a whim. My roommate came home and he said, "Hey, we should go out and do this karate thing.
Mm-hmm.
We can be all warmed up to play racquetball." I'm like, okay, sounds good. So I started, and 3 weeks later he quit, and here I am. It's still going strong.
Nice. Ty?
Yeah, so then, from there, obviously where our connection is modern day. So I was wondering then, after you started in that, and we're going for how many times for a while, I wanted to go into that a little bit, but I also wanted to say when did you start Martin Arnis?
So I was in
where?
So actually it was funny because I started, they had a seminar at the jiu-jitsu school, and it was with Master Bueno, who was modern Arnis black belt, and he was also a jiu-jitsu black belt. Okay. And so they said, come on down, we're having him do a little seminar. This is I want to say I was in it for about 4 more years. I think around 85. About 1978, 78. Dates are really tough for me. But it was about 1982, I think I met him. Something like that. 82, 80, 78, 80. Yeah, something like that. And so I went to the seminar, and I was a brown belt in this Wing Dao. Well, as a brown belt, as we all know, cocky as hell. Nothing can nothing's going to get by me. And I saw this young man, Master Bueno, and he was probably about in his 40s, and he is 5'3", 5'4", small man. And he starts talking, and he's Kickapoo Indian from Mexico and Japanese. So to understand him was really tough. And he starts moving his stick around. He had one stick, and he's doing something and just moving around talking. While he's talking, one of his students comes up, and he starts doing a disarm and stuff, and then he does another disarm, and he's talking, and then he grabs 2 sticks, and he's doing 2-stick drill with his partner, and then the partner steps back, and he's looking at me, looking at the class, and he's just doing all this stuff with his 2 sticks, and I go, I don't know where I'm going to hit him. I don't know how I'm going to get in. I don't know. I go, I got to learn this stuff, and that was the kicker for me. I started then, and he lived in Sacramento, so he would come up, I think once a month or something like that, once every other month. And I train with him, and then I go down to his place and train with him there. And that's where I just took off with it. But I still did my other art because I had a school then. And then I started doing the modern Arnis.
Nice.
And it was fascinating. I mean, when you come from one art and you go, oh my, I've got everything but the weapon range. And every weapon. I mean, it's not just the sticks; it's anything you put in your hand. And so, just literally fascinated. And
so
then
Master Bueno's name comes up quite a bit. I mean, I hear him a lot, but I've never met him, never crossed paths. But it's always someone like yourself who I'm talking to. All of a sudden, they say, "Oh yeah, Master Bueno." I'm like, "Who is this guy?"
so he was a phenomenal, a real good motivator for me. He'd always go, "Sensei Blue, I teach you every week, and you come back and you still don't know it." I go, "If you can teach me, you're a great instructor, because I'm the worst student ever. I don't learn by seeing, or I just got to do it 10,000 times." But he was a great patient man, literally, and he ended up coming up and staying at my place for quite a few months. Ended up teaching at my school in Reading for quite a while, and he's my second father, my adopted second father, third actually. But he's a great man. I really loved him. He's passed away, but so I got to tell you, modern arnis. He said for your black belt, he said, I'm Kickapoo Indian. He says, you got to do the run of the arrow. Now, I don't know if you guys know what the run of the arrow is.
No, I don't.
Neither did I, but I said, like any good student, yes, sir.
Right.
I said, then fine. I go, well, what is it? He goes, well, you get an arrow. So I get an arrow. He goes, and he's talking to himself, I get a bow. He says, you take the arrow and you stick it in the sand and you run as fast as you can. He says, I pick up that arrow, I'm going to shoot you. I said, and? He goes, well, you get shot or you block it. And listen, I took that, and pretty soon I learned how to, because a lot of people can catch an arrow. Now, not with compound bows. This is old school recurves. But I took that and ended up learning how to catch arrows. And that was pretty phenomenal. So he impacted me right off the bat really well. And so he's my second father. Third.
Chris Solberg says Master Joe gave away killer black belt moves as well. He goes, at tournaments, are a massive painful shots in the thighs still allowed? Okay. So I guess it depends on the tournament there, Chris.
He's the beak. We used to give everybody nicknames. He was one of my students as the beak. And he'll know that. He's a good guy. The beak because I broke his nose. I just barely touched it with my toe, but it broke, and so we called him the beak after. Yeah, good guy, really good man, really helps the community out. Really big, strong supporter of the homeless. But
nice.
Yeah.
So when did you finally meet Remy?
So Master Bueno gave me I earned my black belt, and then he goes, "That's a dojo black belt." He goes, "You can teach it at your dojo, but you'll want a black belt from Professor." And I go, "Okay, so when do we do that?" So Professor had a summer camp in Canada, and it was somewhere Maple something Canada. This was, listen, for you guys it was years ago. For me it was lifetimes ago. 67. It's pretty tough, but it was about, I want to say 1985 is when I tested with Professor, something like that. And so I went to the summer camp, and man, I was so at summer camp. First lesson at summer camp, right? And everybody comes and they bow, and I bow, and I bow, and I got my stick and I bow, and I'm trying to really impress him because why? He's Professor. He's already instructor of the year. He's already the man, the myth, the legend.
Right.
And so I'm doing my best, and I'm always the best. I'm the best student I can ever be. So then we get to the empty hand stuff, right? And so I'm doing all the empty hand stuff. He walks around and he taps me on the shoulder and kind of moves me back. And I go, yes, yes, sir. He goes, when you do this, where am I? When you do this for your bow, this means fight to the death. And I go, because I didn't have a stick, I would just imagine he had a stick. And I go, oh, sorry, sir. Oh, he goes, yeah, we know fight to the death here. And I go, oh my God. And you know how he was. He was such a man. And he got me laughing. I relaxed a little bit, and it was a great thing. But I go, oh my God, all these guys are going to fight me to the death, aren't they? Oh, no, that's not why we're here. So my first lesson, and I was like, and that's how I roll. I roll him hard. But yeah, Professor, God, what a great man. What I mean, that first introduction to him was just unbelievable.
Anything
So,
else from that, or anything else from that first introduction, or like what you did during the camp that you remember, or what else you presumably you probably saw him more than that one time. So any other connections would be good too. Might be a good time for that.
I can still see him. Sorry.
Yep, and hear him and feel him.
Yeah, he came to our town for seminars with us a lot, workshops, and then I'd go to a couple of his camps. I forget all the camps I went to. Wow, I didn't think that'd impact me. Yeah, he's a really great guy. I mean, he had charisma, as you all know, that just overwhelmed, and the skills were phenomenal. I mean, look, I was a cocky brown belt. I was 170 pounds. But I was the cockiest brown belt ever. And as a black belt, I learned that there's a lot more people who got a lot more stuff than I do. Right. But he didn't come across with ego. He came across with his heart for the love of the art. And he would, and pretty soon he would pull me up there. I mean, everywhere I was with a seminar, Mr. Blue. And I'm like, God dang. And you know what that feels like? Mm-hmm. It's like, first it's an honor. And then you go back and you go, my body's not going to work. I got to remember this skill. Oh my God, my fingers are locked, my arms, my shoulder. Mm-hmm. And he just enough to make sure I knew it. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you, so while I was his uke, and I think this was the second time I was with him, I was up in front and we were doing Decadina. And man, I know Decadina, come on. And I'm doing it really well. And every time I do something, man, he just bang, he'd have me. I'd be on the ground or I'd be up in arms or locked up. But I noticed this, I was getting pretty okay with myself and I did something, but I let him have it, right? Because I didn't try to hit him. I let him have the skill. And he didn't say a word. We just kept going. And then after a while, we took a break and we're all walking back and Professor grabs me by the shoulder and says, hey, come here a second. And all by himself. And I'm going, oh God, I know here it comes. And he goes, when you strike, you hit me. And I'm like, at first I go, what are you talking about? And then I go, oh, that's right. I kind of pulled my thing. Right. He goes, you hit me because it doesn't work when you don't. And I go, oh man. And I felt, this tiny, I wanted to be, I wanted to be so good for him. Mm-hmm. But after that, man, we were on. So I was every time, man, I was trying to hit this guy. And then, oh my God, I'd laugh. I'd end up in so many positions. You've been the uke, and it's not a fun thing. It's a reward for all the hard training. And boy, did I learn so much. Holy criminy. Sorry, man, this is
best way to learn. You feel it from him.
So let's talk about some of these comments. We'll get caught up just real quick here. So where was it? Boom. He caught arrows while on fire. Mom closed her eyes. And Reggie says, a lot of great memories from you, Sensei Blue and Master Bueno. Chris says, yes, cocky. LMAO. Okay.
Yeah.
So
lucky we lived through that, because as martial artists, boy, we get tested all the time, don't we?
Yeah. Well, sometimes we're a product of the environment.
So speaking about Professor, can I tell you a little thing? So there was 3 of us in Reading that were modern East practitioners. 2 of the guys at another school, and I was teaching them. And we all got together, and we, because money wasn't easy back then, but we afforded to get Professor out there, and he came, and one of the guys drove him up from San Francisco, I think, where he landed. Okay. It's about a 250-mile drive. So then we do the seminar with him. Well, guess who he uses for his uke? You know, and it was like again and again and again and again. And he was big with the finger lock stuff. So my fingers were, we all know. It's like, yeah, here we go.
Yes.
So then the seminars went really well. We had some fantastic people that came to it. It was a huge group. And then we're going to take him back to San Francisco, right? So I'm going with him, and there's three of us, and the two guys are in the front, and Professor and I are in the back seat. And all I can remember is, as soon as I closed the door, till we arrived in San Francisco, which was 3+ hours. You can do this, you can do that, and you know his accent. You do this, and then you do that, and the whole time in the back seat, I'm taking off my seatbelt, doing that for hours. I'm not joking. We finally stopped because I gotta pee. I'm it's like I gotta. So we pull over. I get out and go, man, I'm dying back there. And the guys wouldn't let me sit in the back, or sit in the front. So I sat in the back in this little car where we're almost shoulder to shoulder. And here we go again. And we're doing this, and we finally get down to the house where we're going to talk to him. And I'm like, thank God. I love the man, but I am beat to garbage. It's been a weekend. It's been, we had Friday, we had Saturday, Sunday, we're driving back. He knocks on the door, and he goes, hello! Gives a big hug to Professor Wally J., who I don't know. So I walk in and go, hello. Look, and as soon as I did that, you don't know the finger locks. Here we go, small circle jujitsu. Yep. So it started upstairs, and then he takes us down. He goes, oh, you got to see my dojo. Well, now we're in the dojo. This is what I do. Oh my God. I thought I was in fact, I was done. But it was such a memorable thing for a young black belt to be in the presence of these guys and just be in their homes and and you weren't just a student with Professor. Right. And that's what it was all about. It was you were one of his flock, and that was man, an honor.
And like you said earlier, he made you want to be the best you could be for him.
Oh, he pulled it. Yeah, he didn't pull any strings. You can do better, and you. Yep. That's all we wanted. That's all we wanted to do.
Yep.
Everybody.
Nice. So now the last time you saw him, when you relocated to Green Bay, was that while he was still with us, or was that after he passed?
No, that was quite a while after he passed. I was in Green Bay I was in Reading when he passed away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
because he passed away in what year? I'm sorry.
2001.
Yeah, and I was just but
yeah. I was actually with him when he got diagnosed with the brain tumor in Germany. So we're supposed to do a camp there, and then that all got shut down.
Dang.
But yeah. But so you moved to Wisconsin. You started school.
Well, kind of, yeah. No, not really. Yeah, sort of. So in 2000, so I ended up with another partner, a sort of life partner that didn't work out, and we started traveling.
Okay.
And we had a club school at a community center, and then I had my school. For a while, one of my partners had another school, so we had a lot of schools going on, and things were happening. And then, as I noticed, I was traveling a little bit. I noticed it wasn't going to work that way, and because my partner did a lot of medical partner, and she traveled with the medical field, and so we traveled all over. And finally, I just go, well, I got to sell my school. So this is around 2002. I think I sold my school. I gave one to Blaine. The club to Blaine, okay. And he took that over, and then I basically retired. I think when I was 50, so 55. In 2005, I retired, and we started traveling around to all the different states. And so when I was in different states, what would I do? Train, because my partner worked, and what did I do? Fish, train, live life. But in that time, so we got a place in Green Bay, beautiful Green Bay, and then she got a job in Albuquerque that was full time for 2 years during that. So we were in Albuquerque for a couple of years, and had the place in Green Bay. And so when I was in Green Bay, I would go to different schools because I got to train. I didn't want to open up school, and I just asked them to train with them. There's a great school here I trained with for quite a while, and then I found another school and trained with them, and as a guest instructor sometimes. And I could do some of the modern arnis, but some of the winged out. But most schools around here are Taekwondo, so which is great. I mean, they're great. All the styles are great, but it wasn't what I did. So then finally, I met my partner Betsy Rollins, and so we opened up a school because I said I'm not going to do it alone. And then I came back here full time and worked here on the farm for a while, and then taught martial arts, and then opened up the school. So while the traveling, I got to tell you a story because traveling is awesome, right? I'm in Mongolia. Yeah, why not?
Nice.
Okay. Sure, why not?
Genghis Khan's summer palace. I want to see this stuff. So I'm there, and across the street from the hotel I'm staying in says Jeet Kune Do.
In
Big picture
Mongolia.
of Bruce Lee.
Okay.
So I grabbed the translator because I don't speak Mongolian. I don't know who does, but the Mongolians do really well. So we go over to the school and knock on the door, and they open up, and I talk to the interpreter, and I say, can we train with you? Because I have got mouth guard and cup. Let's go. And they said, well, yeah, and no problem at all. But you got to come back in a couple hours because it doesn't open for a couple hours. I go, okay, no problem. So we leave, and as we're leaving, the interpreter says to me, he says, I've got something to do. I'm not coming back. And I said, well, that's okay. So went over to, in Mongolia, a Jeet Kune Do school, and we're going to train with them, and I don't speak a word of Mongolian. And so they start off, well, lo and behold, they're doing Taekwondo. They're doing some forms. And I go, well, that's cool. So I know Taekwondo, so I'm doing some Taekwondo with them. That's cool. And then they go, and I don't know what they're saying, but it looks like we're going to spar because I see them putting on some funky gloves. And they go, you want some gloves? Oh, yeah, I guess I want some gloves, mouth guards in. And so I got a chance to spar with these guys. And it was such an enlightening thing in that martial arts, as you all know, is a family. I don't like my drunk uncle, but I love him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to be there for him. And so we could do this, and we were training, and it was the most awesome thing I've ever done without being able to say anything. We're dripping sweat. It's Mongolia. It's hotter than the dickens. And we're in this no air conditioning, not even a fan, little room, and we're just sparring our head. So it was so nice. And you could see in their hearts, they're warriors. And that's what I live for. I really do. People want to be great martial artists, and that's why I love what you're doing, Mr. Hartman.
Oh, thanks.
No, listen, anybody can just do martial arts, and we can have a school, and that's great. But you're sharing it with so many valuable people and reaching out to people that won't get it unless you do this. So you honor us as warriors that don't do that part. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Hey, let's get caught up on here's a question.
Sir.
So this, can you read that? Because someone's just come home and the four-legged kid is going nuts.
Love listening to the tales, and this is from Kaiju Customs. Love listening to the tales. Is Mr. Blue both a sensei and a Sifu, karate and kung fu? Actually, that sort of tells the tales into the question. Yeah, so talk about that.
So in Modern Arnis, Master Bueno was a instructor in jiu-jitsu, Kodokan jiu-jitsu. So I said for my second black with him, I have to get the Kodokan jiu-jitsu. I got to know all the scrolls, and he wrote all the scrolls. And so he had them, and he gave them to me eventually. And I had all the scrolls, and I go, you got to know everything on there. Okay, so I did that. And so because Japanese is sensei, and because and then our style in Wing Dao is a blend of Wing Chun basically and I want to say Kodokan, Wing Chun, and I should know this by now, Wing Chun and got so many styles.
Mm-hmm.
One of my students will pipe in. What's Wing Dao? Wing Dao is Wing Chun and Korean Kung Soo Do, which nobody's heard of Kung Soo Do. But Bruce Terrell on the West Coast created the system.
Okay.
And so it's Chinese or Korean, and that's Sifu, and everybody's Sifu there. Sijo Bruce Terrell is the leader of that, and so I could have done the Sifu, but Sifu Blue, like I was saying earlier, sounds like something I'd order at a Chinese restaurant. So when the kids say I don't want to hear it, so I went with, and I was guru for quite a while. I got my black belt, I want to say in 1985 with the Wing Dao. It was 8 years after I started in Wing Dao. And the next month, I got the black belt with Professor in modern Arnis. So I was like, what do I want? And I like Guru back in the day, but Sensei, when all the movies come out, Sensei's kind of cool, and Sensei Blue kind of flows. So I like Sensei Blue. And so it's weird because in our school we teach the different styles, and I say, whatever title you want to take. So some of my students say, well, I want to be Sifu, I want to be Sensei, I say it's up to you. We're very eclectic and modernized, well, like modern Arnis. So we kind of flow with stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it means teacher. So whichever works for the people you're working with and or you.
Yeah.
Right.
So Chris says Chinese boxing.
Chinese boxing. Chris is.
I am doing Chinese boxing.
He is too, man, and he's a card. He's always.
And then Wing Chun and Kuk Sul.
Kung Soo Do. Oh, Kung Soo Do. He say Kuk Sul. I'm going to get him. So Sensei Aaron's teaching tonight, and I'm going to talk to him. So he's 6'6", 350 pounds. I'm going to talk with a very quiet voice, but I talk to him a lot. But he's a good student. But yeah, I think it's Kung Soo Do if I remember correctly. And I think that some things I remember, but some things I don't. 67 years old, and I've been hit many times. So never knocked out. Thank goodness. But sometimes wished I would have. Yes, Mr. Hovis, that's my instructor. Wished I would have. He buckled my knees one time, and I was like, oh my God, I should just lay down. But I didn't. What do? You're knocked out standing up. So. Sorry, I ramble.
Oh no! Actually, I think people are digging it, and I'm learning more. So this is good.
Yeah,
this is good. Nice to meet you through all this. So actually, I remember for some reason your name sounded familiar, and I wasn't sure if it was somebody talked about people on the West Coast when I was coming up in the '90s, or if it was more recently. But it's nice to put a face to a name and some stories to go with it. So this is good.
Yeah, what we pride ourselves. So Remy passed. Things went in different directions. And, as we talked about on one of the previous shows, a recent show, is that one of the problems about keeping us all together, one that is probably not given as much, I don't want to say as much credit, but people don't realize on how much effect the lack of the internet affected things. Because back then you had to pick up a magazine. Okay. So there was no magazine dojo directory for modern Arnis. And a lot of people didn't, now I'm a pack rat, so I could grab back issues off my shelf, but some people, they read the magazine and gave it to somebody else. So some people didn't pick the magazines up, and when Remy passed, there was no way to find each other. Now, and Ty is a super genius, by the way. He's telling me that this cell phone right here is more powerful than the desktops we had back then. And we had dial-up and stuff. If we had the technology we have today back then, it would be so easy for people to reach out and find somebody that they resonate with. So let me see here. Let's do this here. From Reggie. All the good beatdowns by Mr. Hovis.
Oh.
And then Chris. Okay, let me just click on this so I can see a little better. instant counter, single, multiple, simultaneous circling training. Chris then says, loved it. And then it's our friend from the Philippines, one of our tour guides over there. Hi, guys. See you soon. It won't be a guys. It'll be a singular when I come over, but we'll talk about that another time. No, oh, okay. Then here we go. So Roden Dangerfield is one of our lovely friends here. So too bad his first name isn't Black. Then he could be Black and Blue.
Black and Blue. Yep, yep.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Don't encourage him.
Yeah,
Don't.
Everybody can. Yeah, that's what's nice about the internet. Everybody can have great opinions. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, here we go. I'll be here all night. Try to stay. Okay, all right. You see, so it's just gonna fester. It's gonna get, I mean, okay, here we go. I mean, it could be worse. Renee could be here.
That's right.
Oh, and I thought that was gonna be Red.
You might summon him.
Here. Rodent's here all week.
Might summon him. No, that's good. So did you catch up on the? Yeah, you did catch up. Okay.
All the comments we're caught up on that.
Good. So I was going to ask you a little bit about your school in Reading. I guess you had that for a long time. It seemed to be, I guess it got to be one of the bigger ones. Can you sort of tell us how that got started? What kind of program you did there, and those kinds of things?
So, geez, got to remember this is old school stuff,
right?
And
good.
So so when I first started training, Mr. Hovis came into my life in training at the school that I was training at in the Gojikai, because he had trained there before. So when he came into town, and moved back to town, he came there, and I met him, and he said, "Oh, you should come to a tournament." And I'm going, "Yeah, cool." Right. And so we go to the tournament, and they're down there, and it was a Taekwondo sort of tournament, but they had a table set up. And we're walking over there, and he goes, "Oh, look at my instructor." He goes, "Oh, look at all this." I go, "Oh, that's interesting." That's when they had gloves and headgear on the table. And he goes, "I've never seen this stuff before." And so not everybody was using gloves,
right,
and
right.
it was. I mean, and I was amazed. These brown belts were clocking each other. I mean, now I saw my sensei. Both my sensei spar, and I go, "Oh man, they're killing each other." Well, they were tabbing each other, but they weren't killing each other. But in my eyes, they were killing each other because I was a newbie. But it was really interesting. And so with the tournament, I go, "Okay, that's pretty cool stuff." So I liked it, except my first tournament, I waited for, I got there at 9:00 because you show up on time. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, don't bother showing up.
Yep.
And then at 2:00, they finally had me out there to spar. And they said,
that early?
Oh, yeah. They said, 1, 2, 3, goodbye. I go, going, what? This sucks. I'm never going to do this again.
Right.
So, but it was really interesting. I liked the tournament stuff. So then finally, Mr. Hovis opened up a school. And I was like his number one bag. So he'd train him with me, and very small school. A lot of classes I showed up, it was me and him, and it was great for him, and very educational for me. And he was old school. We trained really hard, 2-hour classes, and that's what you did. And so I learned a lot from him. I learned what I liked and what I didn't like. And since it was such an eclectic system, I took that, and then his school started going pretty good. And then he got busy with work, and he said, "I got to do work." And by this time I was a red belt. So that was about 4 years into it. And he says, I'm going to let you have the school, or we're going to close it. So I at a red belt, it was red, brown, and black in our style. I said, "Well, I'm not going to let people stop training." So I did the club, and I did that. Now, while I was doing that, that was about a year and a half. I was still doing the modern arnis and learning that too. So I wasn't doing it, but I take some of my top students. I go, "Hey, let's train some of the modern arnis. So you guys train with me." Yep. So then I opened up my school in Reading. So this was in Anderson, about 10 miles away was our first school. And then in Reading, I opened up the school. I don't know, about 84, probably 82. Dates are really tough with me. And so in that school, it was a small little school, 1,000 square feet on the second floor with 2 windows. Remember, 110, 115 degree heat, one little air conditioner. Right. And we had open sparring on Friday nights. Then we had classes during the week. And then on Thursday nights, we go to the Kempo guys. Mr. Scott Halsey was the only other school in town, or one of the big schools in town, in Kempo karate. And I go train with him, and a lot of my guys would come with me. And so we trained at different places like that. But as it went, some of the different instructors would come in different styles, and they go, hey, I got no place to train. Can I train at your school? And I said, yeah. And I said, well, if you want to get started, you can get students. If you get students, we won't charge you any money. You get the money from them. And on one condition, anybody training with me can train with you for free. And so we would have Aikido, Tong Sudo, Taekwondo, Jeet Kune Do. Richard Weiss was under Tim Tackett. And he ended up bringing Eric Paulson to my little 1,000 square foot building way back in the day. Eric Paulson's now this famous CCW grappling guy.
Yes,
with God, come on, Danny and Asano's group. But I mean, I'd have all these different guys come in from different stuff. God, Latosa came by. I had all these different. So Reading is about 300 miles north of Stockton. Well, Stockton was the mecca for a lot of Filipinos that come on the West Coast. And I remember I went to a seminar with Danny and Asano for the sticks, and Danny and Asano walks in and he goes, I'm looking around at all you grandmasters and stuff, and he goes, there's nothing I can show you that you don't already know, so we're just going to all share here. And I looked, I mean, here's all these big name guys in stick fighting, and go, oh my God. I got to tell you a story about that. So I brought 4 of my awesome stick fighters down, and they're all, yeah, Sensei, yeah. And I go, okay. So then Danny and Son goes, we're going to go to the knife stuff. And I go, oh, cool. And they all come up to me, Sensei, I didn't bring a knife. Sensei, I didn't bring a knife. I go, I got a knife. So I go back to get my knife. All I got is a rubber piece of garbage knife. So here I am. I'm there in Sensei, So so Danny and Asana walks around, comes up to me, and he goes, he's being nice. He goes, rubber knives are worthless. You should get a real knife. And I felt like this small, and I go, oh man, I really want to impress this guy, because he with Bruce Lee and all this stuff, I was really, really excited for him. Anyway, see how sidetracked I get. So when on the ride back, they had to ride 300 miles with me and talking about getting their own knife at the end of that. I'm like,
right.
Anyway, so I had the school, and then one of my students opened up another school in Anderson. So we had 2 schools going in Anderson, and they were a lot of fun. We did tournaments. I did a lot of the stick fighting tournaments in Stockton that I could go to. It was hard to run a school. Even now, it's terrible to run a school. And then everybody wants you on Saturday and Sunday. It's like, that's my day off, but I'm going to go to the tournament. Now and then it's gone. And then the whole month's gone. Then my partner right now just said, we're going to have a meeting on the 3rd for next year. So we know all our schedule for next year. I'm like, oh. So people call me up and say, hey, next month, can you come? I'm already booked up for next month. So you know how hard it is. Look at
I do events
like how do you even
3 years in advance.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
So let's get caught up here. Chris says it did not hurt so much where Sensei Hovis hit you, but the back of your brain felt like from the snap. Okay. Rodent, what we got here? In 50 years, why have most of the tournaments stayed the same or got worse? And we wonder why everyone does soccer. And then Matt Jones says, what up? And then Chris, I will never forget the first stick fighting tournament with you in Fairfield, Sensei Blue. Again, the strikes were so brutal on the thighs, I could not believe it. So that's the thigh he's talking. Okay, I thought it was like point karate, not stick fighting. Okay, gotcha.
Nice.
So one of my guys, Gentle Ben, was at a stick fighting tournament. We're all at a stick fighting tournament, and Ben's got this huge stick because back then you could have almost. I mean, you really had to have a big stick for them not to use it. So he's at this match, and this guy is a killer, and he goes high and then comes low and hits him right across the shin. And I've only seen 2 rattan sticks snap like this, and it snapped right off. Oh, and it was a big stick. And this guy's he's hobbling around a little bit, but it wasn't a disarm, so they couldn't call it a disarm.
Right.
But they had to stop it, and they had to get So, but it was so cool. I'd never seen that. You talk about awesome. The guy's going, oh, you're sucking it up. Oh, you can see it in his eyes.
Yeah, it probably was a little dried out. I had that happen once during. Guy bought us. I was a Remy seminar, and I make my own sticks. And the guy came up, swung at me. I blocked it, and like, why is he stick in my face?
Oh,
well, he bought one of those. He bought from a big manufacturer that was all dried out and literally cleaved it into. I've only seen 2 sticks in my lives do that, and it's usually the ones that have been, sanded and baked. Abanico. Actually, not a bad spelling. You're pretty close there, brother. That's one of the way. I would have spelled it with a K. Or actually, no. Abanico. No, that's yeah. Or a Q.
I was once at a seminar. I was teaching at my kung fu teacher's place, and about half of the sticks broke like that, just on the first initial block, because I got them from another big name that dried them out and had no skins.
Not good.
It was nasty.
Well, and the thing here is, like, I found out a lot of places that are like dealing with the Chinese manufacturers. They don't understand the use. They're thinking more forms, and they're thinking more self-defense, where it's not weapon on weapon. Yeah. So the Filipino martial arts as a whole, we don't teach self-defense. We teach dueling. We teach fighting. Which is a whole nother stuff. Oh, Craig says hello from Sudbury, Ontario. That is 4 hours north of Toronto. He's one of our board members. Yeah. And then best to buy local where possible. Yeah, like for this guy.
There you go. Nice.
Oh, yeah, Chris, I'm going to need to talk to you about photography work, too. That was the other thing I want to talk to you about. That's so this is Chris Davison, who is my local stalker. But no, actually, he is the biggest martial art guy in the fan supporter in the area. He supports everybody's event. Matter of fact, the one year for the tournament league, I felt that he was just going above and beyond. I gave him a Talibong, and then he started cutting bottles. It was all my fault. I turned to the dark side.
There you go.
And there's the smiley faces. I don't know who you are, Mr. Facebook user. Sometimes it doesn't tell us who it is, depending on.
I can't see it on my end yet.
So please, as always, tell us where you're from. And listen, if you're enjoying the show, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Hit the notification button, and please subscribe to the channel. And then Chinese rattan.
It's great for baskets.
It's great for baskets and furniture. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the Filipino pretty much the same. Well, no, actually, we know a good manufacturer over there, but they pretty much harvest the hell out of that for the rattan furniture business. Right. Good rattan, really, really. I mean, I like heavy rattan. Malaysia, Indonesia, that's where I get my stuff from. I get the raw rattan, and then I make it the sizes I want. Oh, and I knew he was going to come. Eric says, Welcome to the dark side. We have cookies. LOL. And Renee, we were talking about you earlier, Jensen Tim. I told you exactly. This is exactly the way he was going to comment, and that's Tim Dobson, one of our Bondo brothers. How you doing, nice. Tim? Another Canadian. So Renee's Canadian. We've got Tim Dobson's Canadian. We have Craig Mason's Canadian. So you add the 3 of them up, and you get one person because of the exchange rate.
They're tired of that joke, but we love it.
Oh my god, yeah. So I was we were in New Hampshire doing a demo, and Craig takes a last shot on me. I block it. It was a little late ago. I thought hey, watch it. I smack him around, and of course, if I hit a Canadian, I do third less of the time, and everyone, the whole room is rolling, and Craig's like, it's bad enough I hear it from Hartman all the time, and all you assholes are going to be like that. Yeah, I don't think so. Actually, Craig fights dog brothers, and Renee is a dog brother. So,
Oh, cool.
LOL. So, RPCs, we talked a lot before. For those who don't know what it is, Remy Presas is certified to become a black belt in modern East. Like he said earlier tonight, through his teacher, Master Ponce, Jose Ponce. Is that right?
Me?
Yeah. I mean, that's the person who you were training with.
Master Bueno.
Bueno. Okay, I'm sorry.
Bueno. Jose Bueno.
Oh, Jose Bueno. I got the wrong last name.
That's
so
okay.
Master Jose Bueno said, I can promote you to a black belt, but it's more of a school thing.
Yeah.
To get promoted by Remy is the way to go. So the question is, okay, you ended up becoming a 2nd degree black belt through Remy.
Sir.
And how many black belts did you produce, RPCs, Remy Presas certified, while he was still with us?
Just 2, I think.
Don't. Okay, first of all, no, it's not just 2. First of all, I don't care if it's only 1, because that means we've all attempted to do our job and produce the next generation.
Yep.
That being said, and I'm assuming that you've heard of the Masters of Tappy Tappy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are people who are Masters of Tappy Tappy who hadn't produced any black belts while Remy was alive. So I mean, like as a Datu, I was one of the reasons why I was Datu is I produced 31 black belts from black belt, 1st, 2nd, all the way up to 3rd degree black belt.
Certified.
Ty, how many black belts did you produce?
Gosh, what did we say? Well, while Remy was alive, just 3.
Yeah.
But
Not just. Listen, I don't give a damn if we all produced 1, that doubled our numbers.
Yep. And they go on, and 2 of them went on to teach. In fact, they're master level right now.
There you go. So
winning. Yep.
Nice.
I mean, the thing here is this. I'm gonna get on my soapbox at the moment because it's my goddamn show, and I can say whatever the hell I want. But here at the end of the day, there's been a rash of promotions lately that make no sense to me because the people aren't producing black belts. We do not need, like when if you read the article I put out this morning, or I posted it this morning, we don't need to reward the people who've survived the years. If you want a higher rank, then produce more people. Giving a general another star for nothing means nothing. If your general wants a star, he needs to do something that's worthwhile. So for us, like in our organization, the World Modern East Alliance, we have a program. So a 3rd degree black belt has to get 2 teaching credits. Now, for every degree black belt you produce, there's a teaching credit. So for your 3rd, you need to produce 2 1st degrees or 1 2nd. For your 4th, you have to double that. Now it's a cumulative. You don't have to, it's not brand new ones. So for your 4th degree black belt, you need to do 4 levels. For your 5th degree level, you have to do 8. So the thing here is, we're in addition to learning curriculum, in addition to, I like what the Kempo guys say. The first 5 degrees are for what you get out of the art. The next 5 are for what you put back in. We make sure that the putting back in is an early part because we need more people. We lost so many people over the years. I mean, it started before Remy passed. Then Remy passed, and we've lost a bunch of people since then. And a lot of people just left the art. We need more numbers. So if people want to get higher rank, then you need to produce people. Okay, there's my rant. I'm going to let you read a few of these. So let's see.
Stick fighting. Brother Stick Fighting is the best event at our
Western New York.
Yep, Western New York Combat League. Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's the league that we're in.
Nice.
We got Moo.
Yeah. Nice.
Mew. Okay, here we go.
Rodent goes, so Mr. Blue, when a parent wants to let their kid quit, what would you tell her to maybe change her mind? Love to hear. Thanks in advance. Good question.
It depends on the kid.
Right. And the parent.
No, yeah, well, the kid's a direct link to the parent.
Yep.
And so the battle isn't with the kid. It never is.
Right.
And talk to the parent and find out why.
Yep.
and then use a little psychology on them. But here's the thing: if the parent comes to you and says the kid's going to quit, they've already decided.
Yep.
And if you keep a kid like that, it would be beneficial to the kid. Absolutely. Martial arts is the huge thing for a kid, but you're going to fight the parent the whole way. So if you want to take that battle, and a lot of people do, and sometimes we do, but not always. Sometimes the value is not there. I'd love to teach every person in the world. I teach them for free. That's what I do. But sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt and say, is it the parent that's already quit, or is it, and that's the only answer, because if it is, you're barking up a tree. Otherwise, use some psychology. Take some psychology classes and go, well, guess what? All you got to do is, and there I see that in business. It's great to have a business that thrives. It's better to have students. They give 100%, and if they're not giving 100%, then when you have a cancer, let it go, or figure out why it is.
Well, I think part of the problem is we have to start from the beginning, and you have to have a good culture in your school. Okay, so people have to see value in what you're doing. So the first thing, when I talk to a parent and they say, "Well, what happens if he doesn't want to do it anymore?" I just turn around and go, "Who's the parent in this relationship?" Well, my kid, he loves it when he or she loves it when they're here, but I can't get them to class. But once I grab them here, I'm like, well,
once
then
they're there,
give them a chore. Say, like, it's 30 minutes ahead of time. Hey, take out the trash, clean your room, do something like that. And then when it's time for them to get ready, say, hey, okay, stop what you're doing, get ready for martial arts. They won't think twice about it. But if you if you let them play Xbox, they're not going to want to do it. You got to, the problem here is parents don't know how to parent anymore.
Well, what Sensei Betsy calls it, she's my partner. She says, we want our parents to be black belt parents. What that means is show up, be energetic, and that's it. The rest is on us. But if they don't show up, so you make sure they show up, and that's why the word commitment comes out. So if I'm talking to a parent, I say, if you don't have commitment, they're not going to have it. What are you going to say at work when you don't feel like going to work?
Yeah.
Do you show up? Well, if you do, then that's the black belt parent we want to learn, and that's a big part of it. That's what I let them do, because I just teach on the floor.
Yeah, so I would say Rodent, which I know who Rodent is, so I can't say his name. But first of all, and you've been in the business long enough too. At the end of the day, it's the culture that you promote there. It's a community, and I've seen people who are okay martial artists. They got huge schools, and they've got a community, and people want to be part of that. And the thing here is, what are you doing? I mean, so for me, I don't care how good the person is. I look at how much they've progressed. And this is a life skill I think everyone needs, but not always everyone's ready for it at that moment. So let's go, Renee, here. What do you got here there, Ty?
Oh, he says, Ty, the black belts I produced at the master rank now, currently, alpha rank or master beta rank. And I would say beta max.
Okay.
So that's the Hi Gents and Tim joke from Renee.
Yeah, so he likes milking that joke.
Yep.
If you
kill
quit,
a puppy.
kill a puppy. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Not a puppy. How about kill their puppy? But
or blow up
then
their
Aaron.
yeah,
you know Aaron here?
I don't
Aaron
know.
Malinowski. Yeah, he's my.
Okay, great.
You need to be a junior black belt. Oh, yeah, that helps. Yeah, give him some good incentive.
Be a parent and help your part of the situation. Don't just cave and relax.
I think for everybody, okay, if you're teaching children, okay, listen.
Yeah.
It all depends on what we're trying to do. This was my hobby. I backed into actually doing it as my profession. So obviously I need to, it's always, I have to think about the business aspect of what we do. I want to offer a quality service, but I don't want anyone who doesn't want to be there. That's the first thing. But the thing here is, why don't they want to be? I had a kid that was going to quit, and and multiple times we talked about putting him in the teen class. He wasn't ready when we talked about it. Right. Then what happened? He wanted to quit because he didn't like working with the kids. Do you want to go to the teen class? Okay. Now, then after that, he was there more nights than he was in 1 month, in 2 weeks, more nights than he was there in the previous month.
I would say sometimes they don't even know what they want. Do they want to quit? Do they want to change? They might not even know what the problem is, so they can't even ask for it, right? They don't know what they want, so you have to help them.
There we go. Reggie says it helps when your mom is studying with you.
Yeah, he had his mom with that and
Nice.
dad for a little bit.
And then Aaron, Sifu Aaron. Okay.
We're man in the middle here.
Yeah, there we go. And then Renee.
Go
ahead.
Okay, kids, you want to go martial arts? You want the taser?
Yeah,
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Yeah, Renee. He's a carpenter by trade, so he works with a lot of guys. Has hammers and stuff like that, nail guns. So yeah, there we go. That's for you.
I'm sure I'll read that. I was hoping to see who it is. So somebody, I can't see who it is yet. Hey, Datu Tim and PG Type got invited to teach a seminar playbook. After doing it a couple times, I learned the genius of GM Remy, teaching styles of adapting to the style you're teaching to. Yep. Instead of having a seminar based on my style's preference, because people will pick up a technique that's functional quickly, that's related to what they do, rather than teach from scratch. Sure. Yeah, I think a lot of us learned that technique for sure. Sometimes you put your own spin too to link a different thing, right? Or you notice how people are doing it. How do you do it, Herb? Because I see you nodding.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was drifting. I was reading the black belt thing up there. FMA Martial Chronicles Modern Art Niche. Sorry, I got drifty. But yeah. So Professor inspired so many people, and I think that was the most important thing I got from him.
Yep.
Was to teach how you teach, but to teach what he wants to show and share. And then I like when he said it was the art within your art. I mean, that really hit home, because we all teach the same thing, no matter what style. In the end, we teach how to use our bodies to the best way possible. But there's so many different ways to go about that. But he was such an inspirational person, and to have him, every time I came away from a seminar, a weekend seminar, or a camp, it was like all I could do to not go back and train. And I remember my hands were blistered from hanging on the stick, from training, keep training out there on those tennis courts where he's throwing us down and you're slamming your hand and you're slamming, and he's just having the time of his life. And it's like, It was fun. Even getting hammered, it was fun. I got to tell you, I know I've been here long, but listen,
No.
Have another black belt under Professor. He's not mine, but in a way we train together. He did some seminars, and he went on with Professor, and he was Peter Reitz from Chico, California. And his sensei got a black belt too with him. But Peter Reitz is 7 foot tall. So Peter Reitz and I would train. We were only 70 miles away, and we trained a lot. We worked together on some different things. And so we would end up being the uke whenever he would go up with us or go up and meet us. Now, again, Peter's 7 foot tall. So every time Professor would be looking around to find his next uke, because you know what it looks like, I would just be ducking down a little bit lower, and Peter Reitz couldn't duck anywhere. You go, Peter. And so it was, and you see a 7 foot tall man hit the pavement and jump back up and hit. It was incredible to watch. I was like, man, this guy's got it.
Yep.
So inspirational. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, but you pointed out his what I call enthusiasm, right? That sheer joy for what he was doing. That's the thing that I probably stole the most. That's if you wanted to characterize my teaching method, I just teach by pure enthusiasm. I love the stuff, and I let that speak for itself. Yeah. I learned that from Remy.
Yeah. Same here. Because it is. He teaches with his heart, and that's all he can do. Sometimes it gets hurt, but sometimes it's just you see in their eyes. They go, "Oh my God, I really want this." Oh, and you see that student, you're going, "Here we go. Let's go. Let's go to the moon and back. You got this. Yep. So,
and that's part of, I think, pulling the best out of folks. So I try, you try to do that as much as possible. It's funny. That's probably, I think, one of the hidden things we don't talk about when they're trying to pass on what he taught. I think that is actually one of them, right? It's built in to carry it forward if you do it right. Yeah. just a thought. It just occurred to me just now. It's not something I've thought about a whole lot, but
no, you're right. It makes a lot of sense. It does, because what inspires us, what makes us happy, what keeps us, thriving and stuff in chaos and pain, is that one little part. Oh yeah, it's so awesome. That I felt so good. And
right, that never hurt. I never had that much pain. Do it again. How'd you do that?
Yeah, but I would ask, oh man, I just remember tapping so hard, and I know I could take like a little bit more, but then it would be gone. It'd be like something else. Yeah, good guy. What a great inspiration for the world of martial arts.
Yep.
Literally, and that's what it's all about.
And it's funny when you do that, people think you're getting really close to scaring people, but Remy rode that line like nobody. He never really damaged anybody. He's straight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he was right on that edge. And I give it a little more room, and people think you might be being mean. I'm not being mean at all. I'm sharing the joy with you.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Anyway, so we have Eric is back. Oh wait, did you do the? Oh, you skipped the Rodney's one. Rodent one?
No, I put it up there. Okay, here you go. You could always slap the kid to see. If you went to class, you would know how to block and say fast. Okay,
Think
whatever.
fast, champ. And Eric, I think what I've gotten out of it is a chance to meet extraordinary folks like the three of you. Awesome.
Oh, thanks. And then Reggie.
Learn the
most
most. Yep.
Tossed around. Yeah, he was a Uki sometimes too.
Yeah. So whomever this person is, please let us know, because I've got my phone up and I've got another screen up and I'm trying to figure out who it is, and it's not
coming.
It's not coming up.
Yeah.
Who are you?
But it was a gift. When he used you as a Uki, that was a gift. You may not have heard
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You said it earlier, Herb. Yeah. It's definitely a gift.
Yeah.
Best trimming I got. I was like the dummy for X number of years in Texas, until then he started picking on my student, and that was fine with me.
Sweet.
Right. I was about done.
Relax. It's like, oh, life's good.
And you could still learn, because I knew what it'd take to hurt this student, right? So
yeah. And it's not fake. It was never fake. Oh my God, no, because sometimes I'd be back and somebody come up to me. Did that really hurt? I'm like, dude, go up and ask him.
Right?
Yeah, Professor, got a question over here.
Yeah. What really sucked was when someone would have the question.
Oh,
they say, Professor, can you show me how it's doing? And then they grab that person. I'm like, and so one time I actually had to stop and go, Professor, no, don't do it to me. This person needs, or actually I say, don't do it to them. They need to see it. Do it to me.
Yeah.
Once in a while I would take the bullet, and then I'm like, because
we used to play games like that.
The problem was Remy, when he came time to drop the hammer on the East Coast in the Midwest, I was the anvil. So and they're like, we're gonna smash someone's knuckles with sticks, and then you're like, Andy, no, Tim, come here. I'm like, God damn it.
Right.
Like he's in the middle of crushing someone. I'm like, this is gonna be really good, but no. But Tim comes up. I'm like, son of a.
We used to play games all the time. I told you, I think you've heard this, but you might not have heard this. Or Raymond is the guy who started with me and got me into it, actually. But under his teacher, we both came up under. But we would, when we were at seminars with Remy, we would once we got the technique, and Remy told us to have fun. So our version of having fun was getting the technique wrong and go, "Oh, Professor, can you show me again?" When we were paired up. So he'd show on Raymond, and he would do the same thing to me, and it was a lot of fun. Fun, but good stuff. Good brotherly fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what we are, brothers and sisters in the martial arts.
Yep.
And he was a great inspiration leader, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we're getting all nostalgic because we're having all these same memories. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to say it. Well, first of all, let me do this here. I'll answer the next one hands down, but let's do this one here.
So Aaron, exactly. There's a whole nother level of feeling the move done on me. Absolutely. You got to feel it.
Learn most, because Reggie said feel most by.
You got to feel it.
All right. So here we go. I'm more than happy to answer this one. I'll tell it. I'm not being prejudiced. I felt both of them. And Remy versus Danny Inosanto. Who would win? Remy. Remy was the fighter. If we're talking weapon fighting, if we're talking a real life fight on the street, I would hands down with Remy. Now, if you're talking and would you try to box each other, well, I'm going to have saying Inosano's got a lot to draw from there. But if you're going to talk a weapon fight, there's no, I mean, Remy fought this shit for real in the Philippines in life and death scenarios.
Yep.
Inosano grew up here in the States, has done more for martial arts probably than anyone else in the world. And when we talk about ambassadors of FMA, I actually put him in a separate category because he's a special category. He does not specialize in Filipino martial arts. It's part of the many things he blends with his Jeet Kune Do. Now, could it be the second most favorite thing he does because Jeet Kune Do is the core of what he does? Sure. And is he a better FMA practitioner than most of these guys that specialize in it? Probably. But when it comes to who's fought it, well, actually, for that matter, I think probably Inosano students are better than him, which would be a good sign of a good instructor. Because that's the whole idea. Yeah. I've got students that are better competitors than I am, better combatants than I am, because I trained them to be that way. Because I can't do the things that I did back then anymore. So, but if we talk real life situation, Remy hands down. I don't know many people that would be able to match him.
Well, right now, I would say that Danny and the sauna would win because Remy's not with us.
Well,
that's the only reason.
I knew someone was going to go there.
Come on. We can all, We can look.
If you took them both in their prime and we're doing weapon fighting,
no, Professor was an animal.
I will say this: if it was mano mano, I know Remy's street veracity would be a factor, but I don't know. And although I will say this, man, Remy had kicks like there was no tomorrow, like competitor kicks, he taught me my first Sikaran lesson, and then 20 years later when I got into Sikaran, it was the exact same damn lesson. Jeff Leader, who was my first black belt I produced, who actually got me into martial arts, he was here, and he watched Remy grab my wrist and then hit me with 4 side kicks, going up my body, ending up in my chin. And he goes, dude, he looked like a top tier karate fighter. It was just, because Remy also was like a 6th dan in Shotokan karate. So, okay. So here we go. Everyone at that seminar, knew something was going.
The beat.
Oh, well. Wow.
Okay.
Yes. Chris has got a lot of things. Thank you.
Chris, say something important.
Okay, here we go. I thought Danny was quite well trained. Yeah, he is. But Remy fought it, and he didn't. Okay, and let me go back to this. Great comments. Thank you.
He fought it old school.
Okay, so here we go. If you've ever, I don't know if you know Paulo Rubio. He's all over social media. So he's got his own stuff. GN Funker Tactical. And so he and I got in a conversation about this, and I couldn't articulate it the way I wanted to. He said, could we build somebody? Sure, we could build somebody that could beat the old school guys, but did we have somebody? See, there's the whole thing. Did we have a person who also had that disregard for life, who had been brought up on the street? See, the thing, guys, here's the thing. Mr. Rubio, Paulo Rubio. Here's the thing about the guys in the Philippines. Yes, the Americans, because you're specifically talking about the non-Filipinos because of the weight classes and all this other stuff. Oh, we can do grappling and all this other stuff. Right, because you're wearing safety equipment. You're wearing gloves. You're wearing cups. You're wearing knee pads. You're wearing fencing masks. But the thing here is the guys in the Philippines did it for real. Like, they would take a brick and smash someone upside the head with it, and they wouldn't think twice about that. The stories I got from the Balintawak group is crazy, including my Balintawak instructor would always talk about going bowling when people pissed him off. He was bowling with grenades. So life was cheaper over there. And I'm not talking about the exchange rate, although it is 50-1, but that's another story. But the thing here is, when you grew up in that mindset, they did not play. This was the norm. And when you take these Westerners, well, let's stick fight. That wasn't the normal everyday occurrence. They couldn't get stabbed or have their skull cracked in at a moment's notice from a stick fighting match. Now, not to say that that doesn't happen around the world, but it's a whole nother animal. Inosanto, God bless him for all he's done. He's one of the best martial artists in the world. He's done more for martial arts as a whole than any one person probably has. But hands down, Remy, and I'm not saying that because he's just my instructor, because I've gone hands-on with both of them. No one had the touch that Remy Presas had. Wally J had a touch that was like it, but different. You know, it was like apples to oranges. But you know, Remy, Wally J, Dr. G, these are three people that touched me, and I felt that my body would be broken in all sorts of ways. Not many, and the closest I've come to that kind of touch since then, a good friend of mine, Mal Morney. That's it. No one else has given me that kind of. I'm not saying the people aren't out there, but I'm talking also people in the FMA world. I'm not going to talk about a karateka that can hit me and blow a hole through me, because I know there's those people out there. I'm talking about our industry. But yeah, hands down, Remy Presas. Okay, I said my piece. What about you guys?
No, I was nodding with that, but I do also totally respect Dan. It's just that fighting with the sticks for real. I mean, and also proving undefeated in the Philippines, right? So even amongst very highly trained people, in fact, that's even more impressive if you're going to go against someone like Dan. Dan. So anyway.
Oh, the funny thing was, though, when I asked Remy once, could you take Anshan Bakan? But when I got into Belintois,
Right.
He just looked at me and goes, no way. I'm like, damn, wait a minute.
Right.
You're Remy freaking Presas.
Right.
No one could beat Anshan. What? No one could beat Anshan. And Anshan was a little runt compared to Remy. Remy was a big freaking bull, and he's like, nobody. I'm like, damn.
Right. Yep.
So even he knew there was people better than him.
Always going to be somebody. Always going to be
somebody better. Yeah. Or somebody luckier, or you got your bad luck. There's no dependability, as you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know,
you can only do your best,
fall,
and you can only be as prepared as you can be, and that's good. Relax.
Relax, baby. So what are you working on now? You got any projects coming up there?
Me?
Yeah, you.
No, just I do the school full time. Been doing it forever. I think we have this school now going on 11 years, and nice. we had two for a little while, but we ended up moving to our other location now on the east side of town and close the other side. And it's enough 7 days a week and nice. 6 days nice. A week regular, but I got a partner that strives for 7 days a week. So, and then I live in Green Bay, Packers, Wisconsin. So right. and I got the belt on, so we don't talk football during the course, but because Aaron, who's riding on there, is my Bear fan, and he's 6'7", 350 pounds. So I don't want to get in conflict with that guy, no matter what. Here, show me some stuff.
I'll tell you. I'll take y'all. Hey, listen, we got the Bills, so screw all that shit.
You guys are.
Here we go, and that's how it starts. That's why we don't talk football in the dojo. We don't talk religion, and we don't talk politics because
it's football.
It's just like the thing. Who would have won? Who could have won?
Right.
Yeah. But so what we're kind of on our little island out here. A lot of people do the Indian eskrima is pretty popular. I see a lot of people. He's really
in
big out here. In Nyan, I'm sorry, in Nyan. Yeah, and Master Shanenbeck is one of the guys that during COVID came down and used our school to train at our school for a while. And he's big into that. And he brings his sensei out, who's now in Missouri. He was in California. But so that's a real big system. He's also the one that teaches the sword. And so I was learning some of the sword, Toyamaru sword, which is, learning is life. But like I tell my students, you will always learn twice as much from your students as you ever will from your sensei. You'll understand from your sensei, but you'll learn from your students, and that way you'll be a better student because, so I don't know.
I'm glad you said that. I was saying you may like this. If you're not learning, you're dying.
God,
you're on your way out.
Hey, I used to say a lot, and then one day my student I said, let me see your folder. So I opened up her folder. I said, what's this? She said, well, Sensei, you said that on this date. I go, oh my God, I got to be careful what I say now because people actually write this stuff down and remember this.
Nice.
Yeah, but it meant a lot to me. It meant that they're taking something. And that's the thing about teaching. I'm never teaching. I'm sharing. Whether they absorb or not, that's on them. And on me is to get them to want to be able to do that. And that is, as you know, look, we all know that's a hardship because we have all this to offer. And sometimes, like me, I got ADHD. I start to offer something. Next thing I know, I'm talking about squirrel or fish. And so it's really understandable that they don't get what I'm trying to give to them.
Right.
But at some point, they grab a piece. And you know as well as I do, that piece is your black belt. You don't. That's where when you anchor down and you okay, it's tough, but boy, that one piece. And if we can do that for anybody, because I have so many with the Facebook, I have so many of my old students go, I wish I wouldn't have quit. I wish I've never had one say I'm happy.
Right.
Never. They say, God, why did I? And there's a time for everything. And we know that.
Well, so let's get caught up on here. So, not your only.
Oh, that's right. Reggie was my first modern arnis black belt, and he's a bear fan too. And he went from almost 300 pounds to 190 pounds, and he would ride his bike 40 miles. Wow. He was in shape. He would kick my butt. Okay. But not now, Mr. Reggie. Get back in shape, buddy.
Says, LOL. Oh, by the way, the Bears.
You guys are talking sports ball. Sports ball, what is that?
Yeah. I've had a similar comparison talk with other martial arts about Datu and several of the masters. The winner always depends on if Datu had a weapon or anything in his hand or not. Hey, wait a minute. You saw me do a spinning back kick out of nowhere. They shocked. They're like, you can kick? You can spin and kick? Well, of course. Listen, if I'm armed, you're dead. It's as simple as that. I'm just saying. But then again, if someone else is armed, good chance I'm dead too. So, I mean, that's it. You know, football gauntlet has been thrown down. Pudding. All right. And Reggie, anytime Sensei. Go Bears.
Nice. Hey, before we get too far, Sensei Blue, I had one last question on you because I was, like I said, I looked into you. There was and part of your program is you call it Arnis Jitsu, and I was wondering if you could talk about that a little bit because I'm presuming that people will be interested in that. I think I get it, but it'd be nice to hear from you.
Well, so when I did the modern Arnis, and like you all know, there's a lot of Jitsu in there, tons of Jitsu that flowed, and then. My sensei was Kodokan Jiu-Jitsu. So when I learned the Kodokan Jiu-Jitsu, I mean, look, wrist lock, backward throw, katatatori, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. How you get to it is usually the key. So everybody has a different idea of that. And so I really liked the Jitsu, but we didn't have enough time to teach all of it. That was my dilemma.
Okay.
And so I go, what do we do? And I said, well, what if we have a special class just for the Jitsu stuff? Because not everybody wants to do the stick. You know how it is. That, everybody, and I only have so much time. So we started doing the Jitsu program. We made up a program for it. And it's basically, so the difference between Kodokan and Arnis Jitsu that I see is Jiu-Jitsu is going to do the hard slams. Old school Jiu-Jitsu, you're going to get, in 3 years, your knees are going to be shot. Your elbows are going to be torqued. Your back's going to be, and that's going to be the reason to quit, guaranteed. Unless you're really tough, and then you'll have the 3 black belts, and that's the only students. So I go, but the Arnis Jitsu, like Professor taught, you can do takedowns. You can make it a gentle way to learn a safe thing, and I love that. And it wasn't just the rolling, roll for first 2 years and do side falls. So we do the stuff that is, the locks, the chokes. But we separate it so that they can go, if they just want to do that. And then most of my students, I mean, all of my black belts got black belts and everything. They want it in all. I mean, I'm a martial artist. I don't want to not have some. Right. But what I found is some of them at different times make it easier for them to say, okay, now I can focus on this part of it. Then I can focus on this part. Then I can focus on that part. Now I got a class. Can you help do that class? Oh yeah, I got that. I got this. I did
various tracks to get all the pieces you want to share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. We do a modular type training program ourselves too, where like we do the Panantukan. It's our Remy had it in the system, the Filipino boxing, but it was kind of a blend. I've taken it to another level based on his core concepts, and some people come into our group that way. Some people come in for a stick, some people knife defense, some people open hand combatives. So and then okay, there we go. Yes, it was amazing. Kick out of nowhere.
Is that who got it? Oh, is that who watched you?
Oh yeah, we were in the same division. So he ended up winning the division. I ended up getting third. I had just had 100 cc's of fluid taken out of my knee, and I competed just to see. And I was the overall champion for all the divisions, but it was like first in weapons, second in kata, which is I probably should have got third. I got second in stick, and then third in point fighting, which was fair. It just my legs. Like I said, I recently got in a car accident, so I'm rehabbing. So I saw the issues with my form very easily. My legs are tight, and when I do the front kicks, they don't extend all the way they're supposed to. So I just got to do more stretching. And like I said, I went in with no training, literally to see where I would go, and I was very pleased. And it was a good metric to figure out what I have to do next to take my training to the next level. So, and with my students, I always lead from the front, not from the rear. So if we go to a tournament, I'm competing with them. I don't care. I mean, a lot of times I give my awards away if I get anything. I just say give it to some kid, and I don't need that. It's just that if my kids are going to do it, I'm going to be there with them. So, cool. All right. So I think we've covered a lot on this show. Do you have anything? Oh, here we go. Let me see here. Oh, Talis says hello from Brazil.
Nice.
Brazil.
Yeah, we got
Total bang.
He's our guy down there.
Nice.
Here we go. Here's this. Sensei Blue, so good to hear your story since you left Reading. I learned so much from you and a wealth of info asking my versus question. Thank you, Datu Tim and PG Ty. And then here we go. The Bears, the Bulls, like SNL. Okay.
There you go.
So, okay, so any projects coming up that you'd like to share with us?
Check our TSD website because my partner does all that. Like I said, we're setting up our schedule for next year.
Here we go, right there. TSDsuccess.com.
We do a learnament where in-house tournament, a learnament though.
Okay.
And so there's no trophies. And what we do is they can do point sparring, they can do padded stick sparring, and they can do grappling. And then what we do is, if you're in a group and your group, we still go for first, second, third, and fourth. And we give it a big, big group hug for whoever does that. Then they step back. They close their eyes and they point to who they think the best sportsmanship is. And whoever wins that, we have two winners, but whoever wins that wins a weapon. Mm-hmm. And then the black belts point and they decide, because sometimes the group's a little different, but the black belts decide also. So there's two winners and they go over and they pick up a weapon. Because trophies, like you just said, Mr. Hartman, are worthless. But a weapon will take me on a journey. So we let them pick, according to their age, a weapon of their choice. Cool. And then they learn some about tournaments. Because then when they go to a tournament, they're like, wow, I won a trophy, big deal. But, I understand a little bit about a tournament.
Cool. So,
yeah.
All right. Here we go. I hear there's going to be a school owners division at the next one. If that's T and K, it's news to me. Not that I've been doing, but when we started our own league, and when I hosted an event, the first one I hosted, I told all the school owners, well, let's do a forms division, and you guys compete for free. And I had oversized awards for them. And we opened the tournament with the school owners competing to, so it was just, a short thing. It was like 5 minutes long, maybe 10. And that's how we opened up. So they got to see their teachers do stuff. So it was really cool, and we did that like a couple times. So we'll see. He goes, yep, I really like that. Good. Okay.
Me too.
Matt Jones is laughing because you guys are still here. I thought I killed you. A few. Okay. Yeah, whatever. All right. Wink. All right. So, yeah, I don't have anything. Everybody, if you're in the Green Bay area or you find yourself traveling through, tsdsuccess.com.
Stop and say hi.
Sensei Herb
Always.
Blue. Sure, give us a. We're gonna wrap things up here. Give us a minute. I'm gonna take you off. We're just gonna do our wrap up, and then we'll do our post show discussion. Okay, one moment. Okay, go Vikings. Who the hell are the Vikings?
Beak.
Okay, wait. I really like that weapon or something useful martial arts skill instead of a trophy.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. There we go. All right. Well, thank you, sir, for being on.
It's an honor. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I only had time to have a face going on here, so.
That's right.
I appreciate
But hang on, we'll get you right after we wrap up.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to be watching. He might pull out a sword and start doing Carenza. And then Eric said, "Good night." He's pulling his knife out here. Look, he's got a knife. I told you.
There you go.
He's back
Right,
off. Okay, but there you go. And then, so next week we have a show. It's kind of it's the reunion of the Blades. You, Dean, and myself. We haven't been on together in a while.
No, that's right.
And we're going to talk about his Blade Concept program.
Oh, nice.
Then we're going to have a week off because I'm going to be in England. So this is the last show. Next week is the last show before England.
Okay.
And then when we come back, what is modern arnis? We talked about the art within your art. We talked about being more of a, in my opinion, it was more of the certification program, but Remy really taught the art. But a lot of people decided just to add it on. But let's talk about what are the mechanics of the art. What did he teach? Okay. And that's what the conversation. And
so it's not just conceptual. It's
no. We're going to talk body of work, like because remember in the Philippines it was modern arnis. It wasn't the art within your art. Right. That was something that a magazine maybe was the one that coined that phrase, and Remy went with it because a great media or a great marketing opportunity.
And it was perfect for the seminar circuit that he decided to pick up here because that's just how he was doing it. Yeah.
And there was Tim Dobson. Okay, there we go. Good.
Okay.
Nice show, guys. Have a good night. Eric's a good night. All right, gentlemen.
I do have my other arm, but
okay. All right. So, I'm off to England. So I'm in England. Sam's doing a sword seminar, if I'm not mistaken, and you're at
this Saturday. I'm going to be at Jim Bobby's visiting the DC area, and then the week after that, I'll be teaching at the East Coast FMA gathering, the annual one.
Yes, there we go.
And Datu Kelly shared that, by the way, or no, he shared the FMA Invasion one over at the Maze.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So I'm going to look that up. And he goes, I once rolled so hard I rowed a boat. Oh my goodness. All right. So like I said, next week, Dean Franco. It'll be a great show. The week after that, we are off, and then we come back on What is Modern East, and we're seeing if we can have a guest on that show.
Oh, nice.
Well, that's you.
Oh, okay.
That was your job to see if that person if it's good timing for that person.
That's that one. Okay. All right.
That's that one. Yeah.
That's that one.
We like having we want to have people that question us. Mm-hmm. That if we say something, we don't want people to just go with it. We're like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, this is what I mean by that.
Yep.
Because we want to have a dialogue, not a monologue. Listen, I thought this was a great show. One more time, featuring somebody who is not the norm. It's not the name you expected. There are a lot of people out there that got displaced when Remy passed.
And they've been doing it for a long time, longer than some of the current bigwigs.
And people have not stopped training. We can't forget about them just because they weren't at this event or that event. They may have been geographically challenged. There's nothing's going on in that area. Yeah. So let's wrap things up here. I got nothing else. So we'll talk to everybody next week with Mr. Dean. Listen, this is always a pleasure. Let me get ready for the outro and make sure I hit the right one this time, because I always hit the wrong one. This is always a pleasure to host the show. please, as always, like, subscribe, and feel free to share this video wherever you feel appropriate. And that's about it. So this is Dr. Tim.
BG Ty. Take care.
Saying thank you for tuning in, and stay safe.